everybody, this is Robin with Creative2xmom, and in today's video we're going to be talking about New Year's resolutions for your homeschool. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin and this is Creative2xmom. This channel is all about homeschooling, parenthood, and thriving in the day-to-day. And today's video is going to be very homeschool focused as we are talking about New Year's resolutions for your homeschool. Now, I'll be honest, as I was creating these resolutions, sometimes my motherhood tends to bleed into my homeschool tends to bleed into my motherhood. It's just the way it is. So I tried to keep these very homeschool focused, but there might be some gray areas in there as well. So let's talk about our resolutions for the new year. Now, if you saw my video back in October, I think it was near the beginning of the year where I talked about our word of the year being joy. And I'm hoping to carry that over into our second semester and then on to the fall as well. So I'm really focusing on joy, things that bring us joy. This is the last year that my daughter will be in elementary school. And so I am feeling the pressure of doing all those quote-unquote fun things and creating joy in our family. And also just really trying to instill some of those habits that will serve her well as she goes into high school. So my first resolution is a little bit more mom focused. It's one of those things that kind of is a gray area, and that is to be praying with the kids every morning. I found that as we went into the fall, our routines sort of loosened up and everything sort of just got not quite as tight. Some of the things went by the way. One of those was praying with the kids first thing in the morning. We were doing really good on up until about Thanksgiving break, and it's just one of those habits that we've gotten out of. So I want to be praying with the kids first thing before I take my high schooler off to school, just as a way of launching them into their day. So much of the tone of our day is set by those early morning habits, and I feel like sending them into their day through prayer is just my way of being with them throughout the day, letting them know that their dad and I are behind them, that the Lord is always with them. I think prayer sort of gets, it just doesn't get the recognition that it needs because it's very, very powerful, especially in our kids' lives. So coming back to that habit and reinstating it for the second semester and on through the year, it's really going to become my #1 priority. Resolution number 2, and that is to finally pick up this book. Some of you noticed this was in my mom morning basket in the fall. I will link that video down below. I said, I'm going to read this with my 8th grader this year. We've not made a slot for it in our day. So I'm resolving that I'm going to do this. Now, part of this, well, really all of it, is my fault that we haven't started yet because I wanted to pre-read ahead of her and I have not made time in my life to do that. But one of the things that I am doing, if you follow me on Goodreads, you may notice there are certain books that I'm reading in increments throughout the year, and I have assigned different days to those books. Like one of them is the Charlotte Mason Companion. I have assigned a certain day of the week that I read that. I think that's what I'm going to do with Case for Christ, is I'm going to assign a certain day that I get my reading done for the week so that then I can hand it off to her and say, okay, now you can read so that we can discuss this together. We are going to get to this year. Obviously, we won't finish it since we're not starting till second semester, but that's okay. It's one of those things that I feel fine with the fact that we're starting it a little bit later, but just the fact that we get to it. My next resolution is to go through this book. It's called It Couldn't Just Happen. It's by Lawrence O. Richards. I found this book on Rainbow Resources in the fall, and I want to slide this in sort of our devotional time in our morning basket, see if that works for us. I've been looking for a place for this in our schedule all year long, and that's why we haven't started it yet. But I really want to dive into it. I've heard great things about it. It goes into so much of the truth of creation, and so there's a lot of science-based ideas here. This may be something that it might not reside in our morning basket all year. We might find a better spot for it. But for now, because I've been holding off on it for so long, we're going to put it into our morning basket. I'm going to have about 2 or 3 pages each morning that we will go through just as a way of saying, okay, we need to make time for this in our schedule. I think it's going to bring about some really great discussions with the kids. So that is on my resolutions this year. Alright, the next resolution really dives into that fun, joy-filled focus, and that is doing the Game and a Book a Day challenge. This is a challenge that was put out by Jessica at the Waldock Way, and I think this is the third or the fourth year that we're going to be participating. So every day for the month of January, you read something in a book with your kids and you play some sort of game with your kids. We don't do, I know some people will go very detailed where they will theme their picture book together with their game. That would be great. I feel like I have a pretty extensive game closet and I still can't do that. So a lot of times what we do is we pull for those old tried and true games that we love, like Yahtzee and Sorry and Monopoly. We play those a lot in January. And then I try to keep in mind some of the other books that I bought specifically for our homeschool, like Match a Track that we do with the tracking and the animals, or we'll do Quicks as a quick math game. Another one that we really love is Skyjo. Skyjo is a great math game that we enjoy. And then I don't always do a picture book. Sometimes it's a picture book. Sometimes it's just the next chapter and our read aloud. Currently we are reading Wind in the Willows, and then we're going to move on to Loyalty, I think. So at the bare minimum, we'll get a chapter out of that book. Sometimes we get a picture book. Sometimes it's something that we just read in our morning basket. But it's creating that time. Books and games really create time for conversation and relationships. So we're going to do that challenge in the month of January. If you want to follow along with some of our selections, I'm going to be posting pictures a couple times a week over on Instagram of what we're reading and what we're playing together. Alright, we are taking on a beast in our next challenge, and that is 1,000 hours outside. We took on this challenge last year, and I think we ended up somewhere around 750. Now, I can't be totally sure because once the fall came around, I did a really bad job of tallying it. But we tallied for a good part of the year, and I think we did pretty well. My goal this year is to really, truly follow it, track it, and to hit that 1,000 hours outdoor. It's not too hard when we combine a couple of camping trips and lots of time at the lake. We go to the lake at least once a week in the summer, and we do family vacations outside. So a lot of times that's where our hours come from. I'm trying to get more hours in the winter this year, and I think that's possible. It's storming outside right now, and I'm thinking about how cold it is, but I know that if we bundled up well and had a goal, if we had a hike that we wanted to do or a ride or something, that usually gives us more of a focus that we take advantage of these winter hours. I really want to figure out how to do that so that we can reach this goal this year. Our next resolution is to be more consistent with our Book of Centuries. We started a Book of Centuries this year. I did a DIY tutorial, which I will link down below, as sort of a way of helping us see where people, places, events, that sort of thing happened throughout history. Now, it's been a challenge because our history this year was ancient history, and so many of the dates went really far back at the beginning of the year that we didn't really put them in our Book of Centuries. And now that we are further in the timeline, we haven't had that habit to really sit down and have it with us every day. But that is my goal this year, to really get in the habit of bringing the Book of Centuries into our homeschool. I know for myself that it really helps to see how people and events interact with each other, and I know that for my 8th grader, she said that as well, that when we do keep up with the Book of Centuries, she is able to track the history timeline a lot better. So I really want to make that a goal this year, finding a place for those to be in our day and really keeping up with how people and events interact with each other. And my final resolution is to begin prepping for high school next year. Now, I have a high schooler, but he is in public school, and I think as my daughter is coming up, she will probably be homeschooled in high school. So I'm really feeling the pressure of needing to get ready for next year. I've done a lot of research on curriculum, but now is the time to say, okay, I'm committing to this at least for the start of the year. I want to schedule in this next year, really looking at purchasing those curriculums and getting those pieces put together. I have so many ideas in my head, reviews, thoughts, where I think I want to go, that now is the time to really start solidifying those plans. I am excited and I'm a little bit overwhelmed just because high school has so much more pressure than elementary school, and that's why I'm like, okay, now is the time to really make those decisions and really get narrowed down and get going. So those are our homeschool resolutions for 2022. I can't believe that 2021 disappeared so fast. Writing 22 anywhere is going to feel quite foreign for a while. Leave me a comment down below and let me know, do you have any resolutions for your homeschool in the new year? Don't forget to hit that subscription button and the thumbs up on your way out, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys.